Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beneath the Layers podcast. This is episode number 2. This week we have some childhood friends of mine, Bryan and Isaac.
Hi, hello.
What's up? We grew up probably since what, 2006? 2005, 2006? Yeah.
Like middle school.
Middle school is when I met these guys. I was new to that middle school though because I had moved, still in the same city but just different part where I had to go to a different school. And Isaac here was one of my first friends during middle school, and I think I met Bryan. I think Isaac was 7th grade, and Bryan I didn't really meet or talk to till 8th grade.
Probably,
I think.
Yeah, because I used to hang with like Joel. He was like the
Joel
first.
Reyes.
Yeah.
Reyes?
The first
okay.
guy I met like in elementary school when I first like moved to Riverside.
Yeah.
Yeah, like him and Nico. What's his last name?
The one I hang.
Nico? I know who you're talking about. I don't know his last name either.
Yeah.
Ramirez?
No. Well, it might be. He's like a white kid.
Yeah.
He's like Mexican.
I think I know who
You're
you're
not
talking
ringing a
about.
bell for me at all.
He's got kids now.
Does he?
Most people have kids.
I think I know who you're talking about. He's got like 2 girls, right?
Yeah, he like always goes fishing and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's
have
what
him
I'm
on
thinking of. I
Instagram.
just don't.
Yeah.
I think his last name's like Romero or something like that.
Oh yeah, I think it is Romero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
if he hears this,
Yeah,
Shout out you. We worked hard to remember you, man.
yeah.
yeah, that's funny. But so I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves really quickly so you can get a gist of who these individuals are. But go ahead, whoever wants to go first.
That's for you, Bryan. Take the way. Lead the way.
So, my name is Bryan Valdivia, currently 27, birthday's in December. I work in sales. That's basically it.
Yeah, so I'm Isaac, 27, birthday September, Virgo, father of 1, and I work at a water treatment plant.
Yeah. So what's interesting is that both Bryan and Isaac, we all grew up in the same city, went to the same schools and everything, but obviously, it's almost 10 years later since we graduated from high school, actually. It was our reunions next year, right?
Yeah.
2012, class of 2012 here. Ended up in completely different places, but, till this day, we all remain good friends, and so it's really cool to see, even though we go different paths, just from that relationship we had growing up, we're able to remain in contact and have a good relationship with one another. And so, Bryan, what do you think, throughout from high school until where you're at right now, what has been like the hardest part of your journey and how you ended up where you're at?
I think like choosing what you want to do for a living. I mean, I think I struggle with that even now. Just choosing a career path that will make you happy and is satisfying is something that I think I've struggled with. I don't know if sales is like my long-term career plan. I think I eventually want to be like a manager somewhere, or have my own business, or even be a YouTuber. I've gotten into overlanding.
Oh, nice.
So I'm just waiting for my gear to come in. But yeah, I think that's kind of what I've struggled with the most, is just like career path.
For people that don't know, what is overlanding?
Overlanding is like vehicle camping. So like basically I have a Toyota Tacoma that I just got. So I bought a roof rack that's like back ordered like 10 weeks. And then like a rooftop tent that's also back ordered. Like I don't even have an ETA on that. But yeah, you just go to kind of secluded nature destinations. I mean, there's a lot of national parks. The Bureau of Land Management, you can go to a lot of their land, and then you can camp there for free in your vehicle.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you can do that. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
And especially for me, because I really like the outdoors and doing adventures like that. So that's really cool. You're going to have to take me on one of those trips one of these days.
Yeah, a far one.
Yeah. The one thing that I do know, though, going a little bit back to how you were talking about your career path, you did go to college, right?
Yeah.
But you aren't doing what you went to college for, right?
Yeah.
Now, is that just by choice, or you're just having trouble finding, opportunity within the field, or what do you?
I think it was more by choice. So I graduated with a bachelor's degree in computer information systems. So I could be a coder or an IT tech. it's just something that I didn't see myself doing. Like I didn't want to just be in the office, like just isolated, kind of being like, I don't know. It's kind of like that stereotype, like you're just by yourself or like in a little cubicle.
Yeah.
And I didn't see myself being that person.
Yeah.
So I chose sales where you interact with more people and you kind of build relationships. I'm sure you could do that with like coding as well, but it's just something that I didn't see for myself, even though that's the degree path that I chose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had my first territory when I was doing sales in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
You didn't get to go to my
I
apartment.
didn't. Unfortunately, I did not.
I did get to enjoy it. It was nice out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to see Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
I've never been there, but I need to definitely hit that spot for sure.
But yeah. So I didn't end up going to what I graduated in.
Yeah. I mean, that's good to know because there's a lot of people who are in that situation where they feel like they go to college but they still don't know what they're doing, or they graduate with something and they end up doing something completely different. But it's a normal thing. I feel like that happens quite a bit. And on the other hand, I know Isaac didn't take the college route, and which, by the way, there isn't an issue with that because college or school isn't always for everybody. So
it's a scam.
Yeah. So, I mean, what would you say has been the most difficult part about your journey from, leaving high school to where you're at right now?
I think my journey was more of figuring myself out because I never worried about career-wise.
Yeah.
It was, I knew wherever I would go, I'd work. I wasn't focused on anything like that. I was more worried about what I did outside of work. So I think I just had a lot to deal with when I was younger. A lot of issues that I did work through. So...
Mm-hmm.
Shout out therapy.
Yeah, I have yet to go. Plan to eventually. But yeah, I think it was just a matter of figuring out who I was for myself and kind of working through a lot of things that I had to deal with when I was younger. More of, now it's good because I can help my son with that. I tried college, I attempted it, but it's just, school was not for me. I could never focus in there.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, not that I was bad at it. Whenever I applied myself, I did really good, but it was just nothing I was interested in school.
Yeah.
School-wise, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, I completely understand that. But the common theme that I see from even both of your situations is that it's sort of a journey on kind of discovering on who you are and, like, what you want to do and how to make yourself, I guess, like a better person, self-improvement sort of thing. But you're just, doing it in your own ways, right? So what would you say, maybe this is a better question for Isaac, is something that happened to you, or I mean, you don't have to go into as much detail. You can go into as much detail as you want, but when you're younger, that may have, triggered some of the things that you decided to do while you were younger and become a quote unquote troublemaker, things like that.
The bad boy.
Yeah, that made me get the leather jacket, black glasses.
Yeah.
I think it was just more of an at-home lifestyle. I would just really secluded myself from my family. They were all, we bumped heads all the time.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, instead of bumping heads with them, I just pulled myself from that. I was just rarely home.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys know, I was mostly, I was at Larry's house all the time, hanging out. Like,
yep.
So when I went home, it was different. It would just cause a lot of animosity when I stayed there a lot during the summer, which was, I would leave and just go do any and everything to get out of there.
Do you think, that experience that you had when you were younger in terms of your family has kind of molded your, I guess, mind into how you want to be or have a relationship with like your own son?
Yeah, so definitely now, I think he changed a lot of the ways that I deal with my family as well too. For him, I'm always there for him. I try not to be so hard-headed on him. I joke with him a lot. And I also now try and bring him more around the family. So all those people I really didn't get to hang out with and spend time with and go to parties, birthday parties and stuff with, we do a lot of that now. I make sure to make time for that so that way he does have that family setting. Yeah. Especially him not having any brothers or sisters right now. So it's cool to have him around all his cousins and all that.
Right now, so you're planning on another?
In the future?
In the future, maybe. Yeah. I think you had mentioned to me one time that he's been asking you.
Oh, yeah. He's got to go to his mom for that one. I can't help him there.
But yeah, in contrast, Bryan, what would you say, growing up, is there a particular experience that had made you decide to maybe even take that college route? I know that both of you guys have siblings, and I don't think either one of you guys are the oldest or the youngest.
Yeah.
So how is it being in that position, maybe watching how your other siblings, whatever situations they ended up in, help like decide for yourself what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think like family dynamics has a lot to do with it. So for me, I knew that going to college and getting an education was something that my parents would be proud of.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I decided to go that route. I mean, as well as it would benefit me in the future, just having a degree. So I think that's kind of why I decided to go that route. So I knew when I graduated and like when I hugged my parents, that was a very like emotional moment.
Yeah.
Just because I knew what that meant to them, and then that's something that like coming from Mexico, that's not something that they could achieve on their own. So having it done like through me, I think obviously meant a great deal to them. I know my older sister, like she didn't choose the college route either. So she just went into like the workforce, just normal job. But I know when I went and just having them there, that meant a lot to me too. And yeah, it was just like a good accomplishment. I think that's why I chose that route, just because of what it would mean to them, and obviously like for our family too. Like I'm the only college graduate, I think, in my family.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. But you do say college is a scam.
Yeah.
I heard you say that earlier.
It is. I mean, now more than ever, just because everything is online. I mean, like every university is like, they just call it Zoom University. Like it doesn't matter where you're going. Like everything is online. You're all doing the same thing. So it doesn't really differentiate you from somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you were fortunate enough to graduate before that and this whole thing happened. But even though like if somebody was torn in between, I want to hear from both of you guys about this. If somebody was torn in between deciding on a career path, whether it's to go to college, not go to college, or what would you tell them? Like what would be the best advice you can give them in terms of helping them decide on that?
I think if you are a motivated individual, you can learn a lot of the things on your own. I mean, Google has a lot of classes online too. Like for coding, you don't even need a degree to get a job at Google.
Yeah.
So I think I would steer people away from college, just because I don't see the return on investment anymore.
Okay.
I think that the cost of that piece of paper is not always going to guarantee you a higher salary. Whereas there's a lot of trade jobs out there that pay more than you would if you were a college graduate.
Yeah.
I know there's like some like welding jobs, like if you're a traveling welder, you can make well over $100K.
Yeah.
And that's not something that's guaranteed even if you go to college.
Yeah.
So I think on that aspect, I would steer people away. And then obviously I feel like when you're young, you don't really know what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I think, as I was saying earlier, it's something I still struggle with now.
Yeah.
So I think that I would steer people away just for that reason. Because even in your 20s, you can still, like how he was saying, like you could figure yourself out.
Yeah.
Kind of learn more about yourself, learn more about your interests. I think that would be the better route.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's each individual person. You kind of got to know that person and know what they're about. Some people need a break from school. Some people need to, if they don't go back into it, they're just not going to go through with it. It's just you gotta know that person, because you've gone to school 13 years, your whole life.
Yeah.
Some people need to stick to that. Some people need to just, hey, I need a break. I've been doing this. Let me go figure it out. Run through 14 different jobs and find out that they don't like anything they thought they liked.
Yeah.
Then again, there's some people that know exactly what they want. There's people that are like, hey, I want to be a veterinarian.
Yeah.
All right, go to school. If that's their passion. If people know their passion, then go to college. And they need college for it, go to college. But I'm not going to push you to go to college. Yeah. But give them the options, lay them out in front of them. Hey, you can make a bunch of money being a plumber. You can.
You really
can.
Yeah. You can make money, selling food. You can make money doing this. But if you go this way, you do need these certain things for it. So it's like they need to figure out what they want before they decide if they want to go to college or not.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. Once you figure out something that you enjoy doing, I think that's what's most important is like find what it is that you enjoy doing and you're happy with the work that you're doing before committing to something.
Yeah, because a lot of people get stuck in jobs they hate.
Yeah,
True.
Makes them bitter. They make it hard for other people in their workplace, and it's like
like for me, I'm not too keen on you need to make this much amount of money in order to live a happy life. I feel like you can live a happy life with, very little. It just depends on your mindset, your mind state, and how you approach situations and things like that. But I want to, there's a conversation that was kind of happening a little bit before we even started recording, and I quickly just thought of something, and I just wanted to ask you guys once we started recording here. It's a little off topic of what we were just talking about, but I know by knowing these two individuals, Bryan is definitely a more forgiving type of person, and Isaac is not so much that forgiving, or rather, let me say, it takes a whole lot in order for him to forgive another individual. And I have a feeling that has something to do with just their experiences growing up. Again, kind of leading back to that sort of thing. And so, or Isaac, I guess we'll start with you first. Why do you find it so difficult to forgive?
I just kind of came across something like this too with the passing of my friend. My mom had texted me saying that I know your friends mean a lot to you, like kind of like just checking on me and all that. And I was like, you know what, they really do, because when I was younger, growing up, I didn't really have my family. Mm-hmm. Like I wasn't really too keen on being with them, talking things out with them. So the people I went to were my friends. So I kind of threw everything I had into them, and for when people like mess with that, it was like very hurtful because you guys are all I had, kind of,
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. Majority of the times I just don't let things go is because, I wouldn't do the same to people.
Yeah.
And I go above and beyond for my friends, like. Mm-hmm. People that I do care about, like, I mean, I've been stabbed,
Yeah.
I've been through a lot, defending the people, even when they're wrong, but I do call them on it too. So it's like, I hold people accountable, and I just put so much into things, like, I wouldn't do that to them. So when they do it to me, it's very, very upsetting.
Yeah, I remember there's actually, I think there's a couple times in high school, I don't know, anybody who ever, like, wanted to have a problem with me personally, Isaac was always the first one to be like, no, you're like, leave him alone. Like, you come and deal with me instead. And I was like, why? I was like, but he would always just like jump right in front, and I was just like, oh, I don't know, cool.
Yeah, I think it was more of I seen the potential you had school wise, and like you didn't get yourself into trouble like that, so it was like,
not usually.
So it's like, I didn't want you to start the record that I already had, and it's like, I'm already here in the thick of this, bro. Everybody already looks at me a certain way, so like, no point in making anybody else do that when there's no need for it, type of thing.
True. And Bryan, what would you say about
I don't know. I think just growing up with my siblings, like obviously you're gonna have arguments. And my parents would always just be like, all right, like go give them a hug, or like go say sorry. So just kind of having that experience just makes you, I guess, more forgiving in a sense. Like you're more willing to,
I think you learn to forgive more that way. Yeah,
learn to forgive, and then kind of understand that people are just going to be different than how you were raised. So kind of just having that balance of being able to understand and empathize with somebody who is different than you.
Yeah.
Kind of just, I don't know, like I never really hold grudges. I mean, I don't really have many people who have wronged me anyways, so didn't really get into many fights, so I didn't really have like those type of experiences. So I think I have like what would you say, like an easier, or I don't really know the word. Like I just view the world differently. Like I don't think that everyone's trying to like harm me or cause me harm. So yeah, I think that's probably just why it's easier for me to forgive or to say sorry if I have to.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I feel like I would put myself like in the middle of you two when it comes to that. Like I take things very like situation based. So depending on how somebody may have wronged me, but for the most part, I tend to, forgive people but maybe not necessarily forget the things that they may have, or they may have done to harm me in that sense or in that way. But I remember Bryan in high school was kind of like a well, actually both of you guys, now that I think about it, both of you guys were I guess very well rounded in the people that you hung out with. It wasn't just one particular group. It was a variety of groups of people. And I think more so Isaac was more like one of the more popular people at school. And Bryan was a little more, he was well known within his own group of people, because he would go, back and forth between two different groups. But what would you say, like, was the reason behind the people that you chose, I guess, to surround yourself with, especially during those times, and compare that to the people you surround with now, like today?
Yeah, I think I could go first. I think a lot of the people that I guess you would consider popular in high school kind of like eventually...
That's their peak?
Yeah. Some people did peak in high school. Shout out Danny. But I think I surrounded myself with people who I thought were going to be successful. So people that took like AP classes or honors classes, just because I felt like...
and then there was me.
I don't know. I think there's that saying, like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room.
Yeah.
So I think just surrounding yourself with people that have goals and aspirations, that kind of motivates me, at least, to try to be successful.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I associated myself with like that group of people, but then also I did like to have fun and like interact and have a social life. So then it was like I had that group as well.
It's a very distinct split to him.
Yeah.
Depending
I know
on how he felt in that specific day, he could choose which way he wanted to go.
Yeah, I do remember that, because sometimes he would just like be with us for like 2 days straight, 3 days straight, and then he'd just disappear and be with the other group. And it was, I remember that. And then Isaac, I know, for the most part, we had a like tight-knit group of people that we hung out with, and I was definitely part of that group. But I also do know that you hung out with people outside of that quite frequently as well, and they were, from all different types of groups and stuff. So how did that help or affect?
It helps a lot, I think, because sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And I can still reach out to tons of people that I've known, and people still reach out to me all the time. But I think I hung out and talked to a lot of people because I was so welcoming. I always noticed the kid that's in the back that's not really involved in anything. So I always made sure to go and reach out to them, talk to them, become friends with them. And then, you just never know what you learn from people, things like that. If Adhan did not say a word when we worked together. Like, not a single word. I did not talk to him for about 2 years, into working with him. But now he just, I wish he would stop. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so like I just like try to make sure everybody feels included, because it sucks to be that guy when you're outside the circle looking in. So I think that helped a lot. And then I just joke around a lot, like he does, it's good to laugh around with people. I think that's one of my favorite things to do, is just enjoy the moments and to help other people enjoy the moments too. So it's good. You get a lot of diversity from people, and you pick a lot from people when you do things like that. So
yeah, that's true. One I know most people that we went to high school with still kind of live around in the same area. So do you, like, even today, see some of those people, hang out with them, talk with them? Or is it like really since high school, like that group of people or those people that you talk to, kind of like the numbers start trickling down? Just because I feel like that's something that tends to happen.
In a sense, I think, I run into people all the time. It's more of just what's up, like, hey, how you doing, conversate. I talk to people, they message me, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, text me, stuff like that. As for hanging out, not really. It's just usually the small group that doing it off, or the guys that I work with now. People do try and hang out, but it's always like, hey, let's go do something, and then come to the time, it never happens. But yeah, I think everybody I have now around is solid. There's people that have been here for years. they say what, like after 7 years, that friendship lasts for life usually.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
We made it.
We made it. We're what?
We made it.
6 years.
We made it like 3-4 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
Probably would have been 7 years or so.
Yeah. So we're in there. Got a few other guys that are years apart.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I don't hang out with anybody from high school besides you guys.
Yeah. And that's rarely too.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to some of my friends from college, and then my girlfriend and like her group of friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really hang around with people here like in Riverside, just because I feel like there's not much to do in Riverside.
That's true, I guess.
Yeah.
They're coming up though. Riverside,
Yeah.
don't talk down on them.
Downtown
We're
Riverside
coming- we're
is
coming
like
up.
they have the food lab now.
Yeah, they're really starting to
Popping.
expand.
Yeah.
You can see it.
A lot of the apartments too, like they're building a whole apartment complex in that
A
area.
lot more hotels are making right there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, well, I guess in a few years we might see if it's a up and coming city or not. But
Yeah.
I know just recently I moved to San Diego, and so that's been weather-wise a lot better. Though I've been a little bit busy with work, so I haven't really gone out too much. But it's nice. But I have always lived up until that point. I've always lived in Riverside too. But even when I was in college, because I didn't go to college too far from here, just like half an hour, Cal State San Bernardino, and I didn't really. I mean, I would just hang out with you guys mostly, but not really too many people outside.
Yeah.
Outside of you guys, but I would talk to people here and there. Probably not as much as Isaac though, because
He don't stop talking.
he's more. I feel like Isaac's definitely more social than the rest of us. Well, as far as our group goes.
Yeah.
So Bryan had brought up his girlfriend and how he hangs out with, I guess, her friends a lot more. Is that something that, like, would she ever hang out with your friends, or is she just more
you guys have been together and we haven't met her yet?
No.
I know we've never met her.
So she kind of like is on the same boat as you guys. Like, I don't know why I never just merged the groups. It's just something that I feel like I struggle with, just because I don't really want to be like that.
He's a different person
In-between
around
person.
her, and we bring out a different Bryan, and it's not the one she fell in love with.
No, I think I'm the same guy like with both groups. I think it's just there hasn't been like that opportunity where it's like the stars align and be like, oh, perfect, I can invite my high school friends, my girlfriend's group.
How many birthdays have you had?
Oh, I don't know. I usually don't have birthday parties. That's the thing.
Dinners or something.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one of like, I guess my plans is like eventually like buy a house or something, and then have like a housewarming party where I can invite all the different groups in my life, and then I feel like that would be like the opportune moment for everyone to meet.
To see if it works out or not. Or see if keeping it split was the best idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I regret not joining groups sooner, because I think there has been opportunities in the past, like when there was a concert at my college or something like that, like we all could have like gone together. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that you guys would have enjoyed, and then my friends over there would have enjoyed, but I don't know. I never.
You think it's that we have different tastes from them?
No, because I think they would be the same. Like there's always kind of like the jokester in the group, and then I would have considered myself like the more serious, and then Larry the more emotional guy.
What?
That's how I would balance it out. I feel like
No, I'm talking about more of like the things us and they do. Like say when we go out, we want to go do something like say go watch a movie where they would go.
I think they would do the same. Because I think like the groups that I chose, they're kind of diverse. Where like there's somebody that's into something like
Yeah.
So I think it could have happened. I just didn't do it, and I think that's like one of the regrets that I would say I have is not joining the group sooner.
Yeah, I think as time goes on, it gets a little harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably gets harder,
Because
but
they start getting built.
Yeah. And then like it's like I don't know, like imagine like there's like a wedding day, right? And then like you have all these separate groups,
and then it's just that
no one's talking to each other. Yeah.
But see, that's what I say when I'd like to talk to everybody. I'll go reach out to that whole group probably, or one by one, and just fill them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll probably give a good speech too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time Bryan needed a tie.
And I know that you are, like he kind of mentioned already, he's definitely more serious of a person. So any relationship that Bryan has ever had, I think, has been very well, he seems like a picky guy.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
He knows what he wants. We'll say that.
He thinks he knows what he wants. Until he gets it, and then he doesn't realize. But Isaac, on the other hand, I think sometimes... I think that we've had a couple conversations where I think I remember you mentioning that, you can be with somebody for a long time, but you tend to, at some point, have like a commitment issue with them, or like either they uninterest you all of a sudden, or whatever the case might be. So when it comes to relationships for you, what do you think that you're looking for?
Relationship wise, it's just I think when people start just being so dependent on each other, it's just what really starts to bother me, and really just kind of turns me off on somebody.
Yeah.
Like, if you need to be in my face 24/7, if you need to be with me all the time, like text me all the time, I mean, like it's too much for me. Like, I'm so used to being alone.
Yeah.
Like, even when I go home, like I was always by myself, like just hang out by myself. I would go walk by myself. I go on drives. Even now I go watch movies and do stuff alone. Like, I need that alone time.
Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't understand that, or like doesn't get that, it really just makes the whole relationship sour.
Yeah. And it's hard to like come back from that, right? Or it's like once that sort of, you start to see that, and like maybe even have the conversation with them. I don't know if you do or not, but if you have that conversation with them, like, hey, I need my alone time, or I need this time to myself, and they don't quite understand, like, I feel like that's probably where the divide starts. Yeah,
that's when it starts. I think that's when it starts making it way bigger issue than it could have been. Because, I mean, especially in the beginning stages, most relationships, it's very that honeymoon stage, and you're together all the time, and you're enjoying all of it, and then you guys kind of settle out of that, and it's like, now you realize what you still need for yourself to be able to do this, and you're still trying to feed what they need, which is sometimes, if it's two different or the opposite things, it's just it's hard to make it work.
Yeah, no, I've been through something like that too, so I know what you mean when it comes to that. But I'm also very picky, I think. And so that's why I feel like throughout my course of time, I've only had a couple relationships, not really that many. I'm definitely not one of those people that go from one relationship to another. Like some people we probably know, but...
It's like casting shade.
Like some people we probably know, but yeah. So I mean, from your two different perspectives, like, what would you say is like the biggest thing when? I mean, Bryan, I know you're in a relationship right now, but like, can you tell somebody else what do you think for you guys is the biggest thing when it comes to like having that life partner, quote unquote?
I think one of the big things is love language.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to understand how somebody likes to be loved and how they show love, because they're two different things.
Yeah.
Like, I could want a personal touch all the time, but my way of showing love is buying you something.
Yeah.
So you just got to kind of understand that and see how they give their love and how they need their love too. And just, you got to step out of your comfort zone if you really love that person.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. At first I didn't really understand love language. Like, my girlfriend kind of taught me about it, and then we kind of took a test. At my desk I have some of her things.
You gotta remember them, huh?
No, I mean, I don't have to remember, but it's just nice to see them, and then
kind of remind yourself. Yeah, like, hey, remember this is how you're. Yeah.
And then I think just like trust is the key thing for a life partner, and then also communication. Like, I think with any relationship, like, you're gonna need to be able to communicate with your partner.
Yeah.
And like see what they want, if they're having a bad day, how you can help, or maybe they don't need your help. Like, if they're someone that's more independent, then they don't really need you there for those times when they're down. So kind of just like understanding your partner, I think is like important as well. I mean, those are just kind of some of the key basics that I think everyone kind of knows and is familiar with.
I think if a lot of those things get overseen, that's when everything else starts falling apart.
Yeah.
Like everything else.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. There's definitely... You hit on some pretty good points there. How would you say each of your communication is with not just your significant other, maybe, but just in general with people? Or like, if you're having an issue, are you the type of person to like like, not necessarily confront the person about it, but like talk to them and like work through it? Or are you more of like, you know, kind of just leave me alone and let me deal with this myself, and then I'll come to you or whatever?
Yeah, I think I could bring this back to kind of like my career. One of my mentors, his name was Greg. He kind of like says that you have to be like a chameleon, just being able to like adapt to different situations and different personalities and different people. So I think when you're in a relationship, obviously, then you adapt to your partner, or if you're selling to somebody or just building a relationship, then you kind of adapt to their personality.
Yeah.
So I think just being able to pick up on those social cues is important, and kind of helps you with dealing with people that are different from yourself.
Yeah.
As for me personally, my communication skills have really improved over the last couple years. They were very bad, very poorly, to where it was just cut off, leave me alone, I'll deal with it, come back to you, and we'll see where we're at. I think now is more a situational thing. I still have the bad habit of having a poor temper. So in certain situations, I will be very aggressive.
Yeah.
It's mostly towards males.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more, especially with my son. I've learned to deal with a lot of things differently. How not to be angry with him on certain things, that it's just not his fault, even though it's frustrating to deal with. And just big key thing is just apologizing. Like, I apologize to my son if I mess up. Like, and I think that's a big step for him, because he's very forgiving, and it helps me realize that people are forgiving too.
Yeah.
So yeah, just talking it out, and yeah, just you got to understand the situations you're in. Sometimes you need to be a little more aggressive. Sometimes you got to be understanding. Sometimes you just gotta, there's different ways to work about it, and I think that's just a matter of figuring it out.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, I have an interesting question that came up in my head right now as you're talking. What do you think has been like either the most eye-opening thing, or something that you've learned from having a son? Like, for example, if you're gonna, it's something probably that you can only experience because you have a son, sort of thing. What do you think that is for you?
Be more careful so he doesn't fall off the bed.
Hey, no, I was good on those dad catches. You know how many times I've caught him? But I let him fall off. Now he's grown.
Well, didn't he fall in my old room?
But eye-opening is, like I said, is communication. It's definitely my temper, being understanding.
Yeah.
And just because I don't treat him like a child, really, when it comes to situations and when he does something wrong, or when something wrong is going on. I sit down and I talk to him. I let him know what the problem was, make sure he understands the problem, and kind of where we need to go with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had some very big talks with him, like the Black Lives Matter movement. We sat down, we spoke that out, like, and I'm talking about like a regular conversation, not like I'm not babying anything for him. When somebody passes away, I don't tell him anything but the truth. So just being honest with him is just kind of like help me be upfront with people too. Like, hey, this is how you should be, versus beating around the bush with people. So I think that's eye-opening for me, because I never did that before. Yeah. So it was.
And like, let's say you were to have another kid, is there something that you would do, anything you would do differently in terms of raising? I mean, I guess if you have a girl or a boy, like, that can change how you raise them, but anything that you would do differently if you were to have another kid?
Differently, I mean, there was just a lot of, relationship-wise, a lot of things going on in the very younger stages of his life. Yeah. That made things difficult. But now I think, I honestly, not saying that I don't see anything wrong, but I think we're doing a really good job with him. So I think even this is co-parenting, so on her end she's doing good, on my end I'm doing good, and we really come together as like, and meet in that middle, and kind of like, she reaches out to me when she needs help, and I let her know when something's going on too. So I don't think, as of right now, I probably wouldn't switch too much going on.
That's good. That's
because I'm proud of him. A lot of people say he's a really good kid. They're probably lying. But yeah.
Does he have silver teeth?
He does have silver teeth. So
silver teeth activity.
So, I mean, if he talks some trash, but that's because I talk trash. He be getting me sometimes. I don't know what to say to him. But yeah, I think raising a girl and a boy, there shouldn't be too many differences within that. those standards.
I definitely wouldn't know because I'm nowhere near that point in my life. But at some point, yeah, it's good to know. So one question that I like to ask anybody who's going to be on this podcast is, everybody has felt pretty much every type of emotion that there is, right? You know, happy, sad, mad, any type of emotion, you felt it before. So right now, currently, could you say that you're happy? Look at that, quiet.
I'm just thinking.
It's a tough question.
At this moment, 100% happy, no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still dealing with the loss of my friend. I still have a lot of stressful situations that I'm getting situated with, but I do have very happy moments throughout my day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about when you're playing Warzone?
When I play Warzone, that is strictly anger. There is, unless there is a good joke that goes off about once every 5 hours. But yeah, I mean, I think there's an array of emotions throughout the day.
Yeah.
The happy ones overshine everything else, though, honestly.
Yeah.
In my book,
good.
I try not to hold on to those emotions heavily.
Yeah.
I joke it off, everything. I joke everything off.
Yeah.
Because, like, you waste your time being angry and unhappy throughout the day. And it's like, that just totally it consumes your whole day if you let it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true. It does.
I think I would say generally yes to that question. I think that I am happy. I think there's, like with anybody, there's going to be room for improvement or things that you want to better yourself on, or just in your life, like things that you want to achieve that you're not there yet. But that's why they're goals and aspirations.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like I'm not happy career-wise, but I'm happy that I'm getting paid, you know?
Yeah.
And then my living situation is okay. Like I have a nice place to stay now, but I eventually want to get a home.
Yeah.
So that would be like another thing that would make me happy. But those are all kind of, I mean, some of those stuff is like material possessions that you don't really need to be happy, but would increase your level of
some
happiness.
people happy.
Yeah.
People find happiness in different things.
They
Yeah.
do. I feel like when it comes to like materialistic things that make people happy, a lot of times those individuals need more materialistic things to keep them happy. So as long as they have an influx of those things, then they'll stay happy. But you know, the moment that those kind of like dwindle down, that's maybe when they might not be as happy.
Yeah.
But just to kind of continue along that point, like what would you tell somebody who is maybe, you know, having a hard time understanding what happiness is? Like, how would you describe that to them?
I feel like that's a difficult question because happiness is going to mean different things to everyone.
Yeah.
So I think just finding like a hobby can make somebody happy. Especially I feel like if you're in a dark space, I think like finding outlets of happiness is a little easier. Or I mean, it's not easier for them, but you know, kind of just finding those things that make you happy and then just doing more of that.
I think they need to figure out what they are feeling and deal with those straight up. And then it will be kind of easier to see where your happiness is that you need to look for. Yeah. Because if you just go looking for happiness and never deal with the rest of this, that's still there. Yeah. And you're still going to get more coming to you. Yeah. But you're still just chasing one thing. So I think you need to not fix, but work on and understand everything you have with you. And then it dwindles. It gets smaller. Yeah. Or you learn to deal with it more so you know how to address it. Once you learn to address it, then you got way more time to focus on that happiness. Yeah. So. And if moments in your life when you've felt like you were in a dark place, what are some things that you did or maybe somebody might have helped you with to kind of come out of that dark space or that dark area or that feeling of sadness or depression or whatever the case might be? Like, what are some things that you did to help you with that? I think like friends are a good resource. I mean, you guys, like I can always count on you guys, and then I have college friends that I can count on as well. My girlfriend. I think just having those people that you know will be there for you no matter what is important. I think, that's probably what I would say. Before younger, it was just go fight. Like I would go fight and just feel. Just once I feel like I can hurt and feel pain, I was just so like eased and
Yeah.
Like after that, I was so light, and I was like, I had let it all out. But
Kinda
like I
like
said, that wasn't so much dealing with it. That was just kind of the wrong way to deal with it, I'll say. But now I talk to my son again. Like I said, I have conversations, let him know if I'm upset with something, and he'll comfort me.
Yeah.
I reach out to people, so that's a lot better. So I just kind of talking it, and once I start saying it and kind of letting it all out, it just all, to me, it dies. Like it pretty much dies out. So I think just communicating it is just how I've gotten through it. Realizing that there are people there that are trying to help me, and I don't have to deal with it on my own.
Yeah.
That's a key, because I've just for years just dealt with it just me. But yeah, like the last like 4 or 5 years, I've just been kind of learning that.
Yeah.
And I think that's good.
Yeah, that's great to hear, because I'm sure there might be a single person, listening to this who doesn't quite know how to deal with something like that. And if they have some options that you guys just shared and they can try it out, it might help them. So that's great. Bryan, this is a little bit more less serious, but Bryan has no tattoos. Isaac has tons of tattoos. Are tattoos to you like something important, or do you just get them for fun, or like what?
Honestly, I don't know what it is, but I remember being in about the 2nd grade and knowing I was going to get tattoos.
2nd grade.
Like I'm telling you, I was on the playground and like in my mind I was just picturing, like, looking at my arms, like obviously the ideas have changed now.
Yeah.
But
you didn't want to get a SpongeBob tattoo?
I did not. It was flames for some reason.
Yeah.
I like the artwork.
Yeah.
Art's always been something for me. Even then, I was drawing all the time, looking drawings up. So I think it was just something that caught my eye. Like art's always caught my eye. I knew I was getting them. I like to see the different artists, the different styles that can happen, and what people can put into skin. It's like you can draw something on a paper.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's not easy, but to be able to get that to go onto somebody's skin and stay in somebody's skin, it's just like, to me, it's mind blowing. It's like,
yeah.
And when I tell everybody how far I'm getting tattooed, they are always so shocked, because I will do my neck, I will do my head, I might even do some of my face. Like I will be covered. Like,
you're gonna be covered in tattoos. Oh wow. Okay. So by the time you're like what, 40, 50, you'll be at that point, or?
Yeah. I'll be just shooting eyeball tattoos.
It can be
that's what it comes down to.
That's crazy.
It can be an expensive hobby.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that's one of the things that pushes me away. It's like I want like a half sleeve from here and then do the chest piece.
Yeah.
But even that's like $4 to $6 grand from like one of the artists that I follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I just can't get myself to make that purchase and not feel like guilty about it, because I think I want to put that money towards something else. But I think if I was like rich, then I'd probably have a half sleeve.
I think. See, that's I think another thing I tell people all the time too, is people people put their money into individual things. Like I'd never judge anybody that would put it into their car.
Yeah.
People that put in their shoes or traveling or whatever, because like there's people that will spend hundreds of dollars on their car parts.
Yeah.
I will not spend $100 on my car parts. There's people that will spend hundreds of dollars on trips and stuff like that. Like, like to me, it's like there's certain things that you will and won't spend your money on.
Yeah, that's true.
And I just don't see, like, when people pick on people that do that, I'm just like, come on, man. Like what do you spend your money on?
I'm
like,
sure there's something that they spend their
like
money
exactly.
on,
Like
so.
everybody's got their own taste and the things that they will and won't spend their money on.
Yeah. No, that's true. I think for me, probably the thing that I tend to spend the most money on is traveling. Probably was when I do go traveling, I probably spend the most money on that.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy it, and you're about to get into Overlander.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I know what the concept is, but I never realized it had a word for it. Yeah. So what, like, I guess bringing it all the way back to that, what is like the first place you want to go?
There's like a list of places that I want to go. I think like there's like the Grand Canyon. There's like an area that you can camp out there.
Yeah.
I want to go to like the national parks. Like I want to get the national park passport and then stamp it all out. Like go to all the different national parks. But that's kind of like long term.
That is a long term thing. Yeah.
Cause I mean I can't really do those trips because they're gonna be multiple day trips, like a whole week probably. I can't really take that time off of work. So I want to get to the point in my career where I don't need to work. So that's where the YouTubers space comes in.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like I can do that for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. My girlfriend likes to edit videos too, so it's
Oh,
like she could
yeah.
do all of that, and then I could just help record.
Does she agree to that? Or you're just telling her to?
No, we've talked about it before.
Forcing her.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like, there's people that like live like out of their van, like on
I think that's
YouTube, and they
kinda cool.
have like thousands of subscribers. Like,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I remember actually the first trip that I've ever taken just to a national park or just like in general was actually with Isaac and Adolfo when we went to
shout out Poison Ivy.
He did get poison oak that day. And that trip, the first time, I think, was that your first time too? Or
Yeah, that was my first. Yeah, that was that was my longest drive I've ever been on.
Yeah, and from that moment forward, that kind of just changed my life in that aspect where like I just wanted to go to all those places and like see the world sort of thing. Because before, like, you know, growing up in Riverside, I mean, it's not like most people here don't have a lot of money, I would say. Or like most people here live comfortably, but not where they can
do
like,
excessive amounts.
Yeah, they can do stuff all the time. So growing up, for me, we didn't really go to that many places, especially, and not like that often. And if we did go somewhere, it's maybe somewhere in Southern California. I think the furthest place that I ever went was the Grand Canyon once, and I was like 7, so I didn't really remember it.
I do need to go there. I've been wanting to go there.
Yeah, I want to go there again because I haven't been there since I was
Yeah,
like 7.
I want to take the there too.
So, like, I just remember that trip as being one of, like, I guess you can say like a turning point in terms of like knowing something that I wanted to do, you know. So I guess since we're kind of, wow, this is almost an hour long. I didn't realize that. Anything that you wanted to say last? Maybe you want to give your take on, you know, your life. Something. Anything you want to say? If not, it's fine. We can just end this here, and that'll be that.
Got anything you need to say?
Don't take anything too serious.
Can you make a joke?
Yeah, you can't put you on the spot like that. That's not how it works.
Make a joke on the spot.
But yeah, just don't take life too serious. Enjoy it. Do those things. You know, don't work yourself to death because you get nothing from that. Just take the time to enjoy everything.
Enjoy life.
When Larry hits you up 2 days before he's going on his trip, you say yes.
Yeah, he did. I can always count on him to do that.
I was like, damn. Will I get fired? Yeah, sure. But yeah, just take time to go see things.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Experience life. Really experience it.
Take your days off.
You know, all those things you're afraid to do, go do them. Yeah. Use your PTO.
They'll replace you in a second.
I will say.
Oh, don't ever put your 2 weeks in because they do not give you 2 weeks when they fire you. That's just my input on that. True. They will have somebody hired there for you.
Wow. Yeah.
Unless you have a really good boss, then that's different. But most places do not care about you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But yeah, thank you guys for being on the podcast. I do remember that it took me a while to start this because I thought about this idea for a long time, but you kind of just have to get out there, do it, not be afraid you're going to fail. You know, you never know what can happen. So thank you guys again for being on here, and I look forward to talking with you guys sometime down the line, probably.
Yeah.
We'll
Catch up.
We'll be back.
There we go. All right.
Peace.